Get more ways to play on every sport. Baseball, golf, and Canadian football are still very much in full swing. The action starts at Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook. Bet before the game starts, live in play, or on one of our many prop bets. Doing it right since 1997, Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now and see all sports betting has to offer. Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 plus, and please play responsibly.
I think when it comes to Colorado, there's just so many question marks. Let's just start with the fact they have three of their, not the highest end forwards, but three of their top forwards, and Andre Burakovsky, Nazem Kadri, and Valery Nichushkin, who are all free agents. I think at this point, it's clear Burakovsky is going to test free agency. He's likely gone. Not because he doesn't like it there, but it's just so much money to spend and a great opportunity for him maybe to go and be signed to get more minutes on a team that isn't as deep up front. The Kadri one's going to be a really close call. This one strikes me where there's a will, there's a way. And based on what I can tell, there's a will from Nazem Kadri to want to stay in Colorado. I believe he really does want to stick with that team if it can work. But, we've talked about this before. If he hits the open market, I think he's getting 7 years from another team. And I think it's $7 to $8 million a year, maybe even a little bit more, depending on where the bidding goes. And so I don't see how Colorado can make that fit. And so they're going to have to get creative. I mean, maybe they give him 8 years. It sounds crazy. He's going to be 32 at the start of next season. So there'd be huge risk in that. So, I don't know if they'll be able to get it done. I do think that Nichushkin, though, is likely to be back. He loves it there. He's a beast. I mean, we talked about him being injured with his foot, but he scored 4 goals in the Cup final series. He had his best year production-wise. He's such a big, powerful skater. So I think he fits in really well with the system. And he's a little bit younger than Kadri, right? So, if you're signing him a bit longer term, you're buying more of the years that you can expect positive value back from. So, I do think one of those 3 guys is back for sure, of those forwards, potentially 2. But, I think it's going to be a hard decision between business and heart for Nazem Kadri because, I think reasonably he can earn more money on the open market, but I know he loves it in Denver and he's found a really good fit with the Avalanche.
And all those players you're talking about, that's who they have to deal with this year because there's one guy who's really happy about his Stanley Cup who's going to eventually want some more money on top of his contract that he still has to run out to this point, and that's Nathan MacKinnon.
Right, and that's probably the biggest piece of business. He can sign that contract as of July 13th. I'm told the plan is still for the Avs and his agents to sit down, probably let the hangover wear off here for a couple of days, but sit down and early this summer and hammer out what his next extension looks like. Nathan MacKinnon's previously indicated in interviews that, obviously he's been probably one of the most positive value players consistently the last 3 or 4 seasons. I mean, making $6 million and change and performing like a guy making 12 or 13 million. That's a huge reason why the Avalanche have become the team they are. And, that's going to expire. I don't know how much of a discount he's going to give them. He's sort of made it sound like, he wants to be paid fairly, but he's not going to push it to the limits. But I think he could make a case to even pass McDavid if he wanted to, keeping in mind that McDavid signed that contract years ago. So based on percentage of cap and, if you're projecting out the cap's going to jump, significantly during the time that this contract will run, I don't think it would be crazy for him to ask for 13 million or 13.5 million. But I'm not sure he's going to do that. So, that'll sort of set them up for what we see in the season starting 2023 and beyond. But you got to do that. And then they got to figure out a goaltender. If Darcy Kemper hits the open market, they have all those depth players I mentioned that, okay, maybe you retain 1 or 2 of them, but if you don't, you got to be finding, you have to have internal depth. I mean, obviously the Avalanche are hoping Alex Newhook can grow into a larger role in the team. He's part of this team. I think Bowen Byram had a great series
Yes, he did.
in the Cup final and sort of showed you, because he's very young too, that he's part of a really bright future, but he's going to need a new contract. So man, there's a lot of moving pieces there. They do have cap space, but it's going to go quickly because these players have all earned raises.
Last thing from Colorado before we move on to other topics here. We managed to go through however long of us recording the show, and we didn't even get into the postseason that was for Cale Makar, who ends up ending the postseason as playoff MVP. The only other guy to have won playoff MVP before his 24th birthday, Bobby Orr. Like, we're at a point now where we can have Cale Makar and Bobby Orr in the same sentence. I think that is one of the coolest storylines that has come out of this postseason. The fact that Cale Makar is on pace to be this amazing offensive-minded defenseman who can defend very well too, but just Cale Makar just being this outstanding, great player.
What a treat to watch this guy do his thing. And he's so humble too. So he seems like such a nice kid and great family. His parents were around here for the cup celebrations. I mean, man, I wish we had saw that Olympic tournament. Not to like make this so
me too.
Weird, but like we could have like Cale Makar on Team Canada with everybody. I mean, you know the names, you know what I'm talking about. Like,
oh yeah,
would have just been a sick team. And he had a ridiculously good playoffs. I mean, there is no limit to what he can do. Like, I think he's the best defenseman in the world already. That might be a little too soon to say that. I don't know. Maybe you think he's got to knock off a Victor Hedman or, guys who've been there and getting nominated for the Norris every year. But Makar just had a special playoffs. He just goes for it. Like, I've never seen a guy quite play like that. Like, there's maybe some shades of peak Erik Karlsson in that, the way he's able to really control the play and so much flows through him. But I mean, the plays he made, like some of the stuff that just goes unnoticed, the way he'll get the puck in his own zone. Like, I was asking a bunch of the former players hanging around, like nobody had a comparison for him, like a true comparison. Like, I asked some of the former NHLers, like, was there anyone in your day that kind of reminds you of this or that you saw? And like, I didn't get one answer. And I didn't see Bobby Orr play. I know he revolutionized the position. He's one of the all-time legends of the sport, but I can't make that comparison myself just because I didn't see him play. And I think so much time has passed. It's a different game. But, we might be seeing Makar revolutionize his position again or being the next part of the evolution of what we ask a defenseman to do or expect him to do. And it's pretty crazy what he needs to build a new trophy case. Like, the last week has been insane. A Norris, a Cup, and a Conn Smythe. Like, that's Hall of Fame stuff right there. And you're 23 years old. Like, it's nuts.
It's ridiculous, man. And seeing, yes, it is. He is very much deserving of the honor of being ridiculous, because the speed on the ice, the way he's able to cut through a defense if he wants to, his ability to handle the puck. Just one of the best things about seeing Cale Makar do his thing is when the Avs just are in the offensive zone and they're cycling the puck around and Cale Makar has the puck and he's holding on to it and he's trying to just see, all right, do I want to shoot? Do I want to pass? And the way he's just handling the puck, like he has the best handle of any. I know we use that term for basketball and how we look at point guards. He has the best handles of any NHL player I think I've ever seen. He's just so fun to watch in that.
It's like got a yo-yo, right? Like, he can just move it back and forth, and it's wild. Like, he might score like 35 or 40 goals one year as a defenseman. I don't want to even put a ceiling on him. I don't even want to, like, he could get 100 points. Like, I think anything is possible. Like, Paul Coffey, Brian Leetch numbers are in this guy's future, and his present is, he's just an awesome player. So it was pretty cool to see him win too. And you just can't help but wonder, like, all the great things still to come. Like, that resume is just starting, and it's starting at a pretty special place.
And the Colorado Avalanche, if they're able to get everything together in terms of signing guys back and putting together a good team, we may very well be at the beginning of their true power in the National Hockey League.